discover the life-changing moment. She filled in as Maid and met the incredible CO single dad who... Maya stood at the entrance of the luxurious penthouse, her heart pounding. With a worn-out mop in one hand and her daughter Chloe's drawing clutched in the other, she couldn't help but feel like a small fish in a vast ocean of wealth. Just a month ago, she was a struggling office worker, lost in the grind. Now, she was thrust into this polished world of sleek furniture and breathtaking views, and here she was, desperate to make ends meet for her spirited 8-year-old daughter. Every stroke of the mop was a reminder of the sacrifices she made for Chloe's happiness. "Mommy, will we be okay?" Chloe had asked the night before. Her little face, dotted with worry lines, broke Maya's heart. "We're going to be just fine," she had reassured, though she felt the weight of uncertainty heavy on her shoulders. As she cleaned the grand, sunlit room, she tried to push the doubts aside. The long hours, the aching back, it was all worth it for Chloe's future. Just then, a muted sound caught her attention. Footsteps approached, and there he was, Jake, the charismatic CEO, with a charming smile that masked profound grief. His eyes seemed to carry a world of pain like a silent companion. He seemed to glide effortlessly through life, the weight of his struggles hidden beneath a crisp suit. "Hello, you must be Maya?" He smiled warmly, his voice soothing yet tinged with unease. She nodded, feeling suddenly exposed under his scrutiny, a maid before a CEO. Their worlds felt like they were colliding in the most unexpected way. "Can I get you anything?" she stammered, fumbling with her mop, aware of her stained uniform, contrasting sharply with his tailored attire. As he responded with a gentle laugh, Maya felt her heart skip. They exchanged stories, brief but meaningful. He spoke of his late wife, the pressure of expectations, and suddenly they were no longer just a maid and a CEO, they were two souls connected by loss, navigating the murky waters of their lives. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue." Yet just as the connection blossomed, a misunderstanding threatened to unravel it. Maya overheard a snide comment from one of the other residents, a reminder of her position in this grand scheme of wealth. She asked, "Just a maid? What could she possibly know about hard work?" The words pierced her heart like daggers, awakening the insecurities she had tried so hard to shake off. Jake seemed oblivious to the remarks, but Maya felt divided. The one bright star of hope dimmed in the shadow of class bias. Maybe this was a mistake, she thought, her chest tightening. What could a woman like her offer a man who lived in such an elite sphere of life? Unraveled and torn, Maya turned away, her heart heavy. But Jake stood still, wrestling with his thoughts. Could he see beyond her uniform? Was he willing to challenge his own assumptions? As the weight of their world settled between them, both felt the tension thickening in the air. They stood on either side of an invisible wall, yearning to break through yet unsure if they could. In that poignant moment, Maya asked herself, could hope spring from this bitter divide? What if the American dream wasn't a destination but a journey shared, filled with the trials and tribulations that make it all worthwhile? As the tension hung thick in the air, Maya took a deep breath. She could hear her heart beating in her ears. Would Jake look past her and see her for who she truly was, not just as the woman mopping his floors? This wasn't about glamour or social standing. It was about connection, a fleeting moment where two lives touched, regardless of the barriers that society placed between them. Jake spoke first, clearing his throat. "You know, I admire what you're doing. It's not easy juggling work and family," he said, his voice steady yet soft. There was a sincerity in his tone that reminded Maya of how rare it was to find someone who truly empathized with her struggle. She met his gaze, and for a moment, the weight of her worries faded. "Thank you," she managed to reply, surprised by the warmth that blossomed inside her. "I'm just trying to make things better for my daughter." Every day is a new challenge. His expression shifted. He nodded, as if he understood the daily grind all too well. Chloe is lucky to have you. It can't be easy doing all of this alone. Maya felt her throat tighten at the mention of her daughter. I just want her to have the life she deserves, she admitted, the words spilling out before she could stop herself. The truth hung in the air between them, a shared understanding of love, loss, and hope. Yet, as they spoke, Maya couldn't shake the nagging feeling that reality would soon intrude again. What would happen when the sun set on their brief encounter? Would he remember her words, or would she fade back into the background, just another cleaning staff? Chloe's drawing, now crumpled in her hand, suddenly felt heavier. It was a picture of their little home, filled with sunshine, flowers, and a stick-figure family, a symbol of the joy she was striving to maintain. She's really talented, Jake pointed out, glancing at the drawing. Is that my little girl and me? Maya finished, a smirk creeping on her lips. It was so ordinary yet so precious at once, a testament that even the simplest moments could bring happiness. And what about you? What's your dream? He asked, leaning closer. The intensity in his eyes stirred something deep inside her, a longing she hadn't felt in a long time. Before she could answer, a loud interruption roared through the space. The other residents were returning from their day, laughter and chatter drowning out their intimate moment. Instantly, Maya felt the familiar pang of anxiety. She quickly straightened, her professional mask slipping back into place as she focused on her work. Jake's eyes flashed with concern. Maya, wait, but it was too late. The moment had fractured like glass, the magic dissipating into the air. Maya forced a smile, her heart racing as she turned back to the mop. She tried to drown out the noise, but the whispers and laughter of the other residents only heightened her unease. How could she bridge the divide when the very world she belonged to felt so far away? As she finished the room, a spark ignited within her. Maybe this encounter was the first step, the flicker of hope she desperately needed. What if she could show Jake that there was more to life beyond his corporate empire, a world wrapped in warmth and resilience? With her heart thrumming, she clutched the drawing closer. Perhaps she needed to take the risk, step into the light rather than remain hidden in the shadows. Mommy, look! Chloe's voice broke through her thoughts as she bounded through the door, her bright spirit illuminating the room. Maya glanced up, her heart swelling at the sight of her daughter. Hey, sweetheart, she smiled, despite the weight of uncertainty lingering. Jake watched the interaction, a glimmer in his eye, the stirrings of interest emerging again. The air pulsed with possibility as Maya shared her world with Chloe. But was their brief encounter just an anomaly, or was it a sign of something more? As Maya locked eyes with Jake, the flicker of hope ignited a new question. Could love flourish across the chasm that separated them? Maya's heart raced as she knelt beside Chloe, who was showing off a new craft project. Her little hands layered brightly colored paper into a makeshift landscape that represented their simple life. In that moment, laughter and joy echoed in the small room, but the weight of Jake's lingering gaze pressed heavily on her mind. What if he didn't just see her as the janitor anymore? Mom, can we put this on top of the fridge? Chloe's voice chimed, pulling Maya back to the present. Of course, sweetie. It's beautiful, Maya replied, her voice infused with warmth despite the undertow of uncertainty swirling in her chest. As Chloe proudly secured the artwork in place, a nervous excitement bubbled up within Maya. She glanced at Jake, still watching them, his expression softening with each laughter that burst from Chloe's lips. In that exchange, Maya felt something far deeper than mere attraction. It was connection, pure and real. But as Chloe turned back to her radiant mother, Maya's heart sank. She could see the world through her daughter's innocent eyes, a world filled with potential and dreams. And then reality hit her like a cold splash of water. How often would she allow fear to keep her at bay? Can I ask you something, Maya? Jake's voice broke through her spiraling thoughts, bringing her focus back to him. The concern in his gaze tugged at something deep within her. Maya hesitated, glancing between Jake and Chloe. Sure, she managed, meeting his eyes. What drew you to the work you do? It's obvious you have a special bond with your daughter. His question felt loaded, like he was peering into her soul. She swallowed hard, considering the implications of honesty. Would revealing the truth shatter the delicate connection they had formed, the fragile hope kindling within her? I started working to make ends meet, she said finally, her voice trembling slightly. But it became more than that. I want to show Chloe that we can overcome anything together. I want her to know that hard work leads to brighter days. Jake nodded thoughtfully, and something shifted in his expression. She's lucky to have you. Life can get overwhelming, but having someone who believes in you makes all the difference. His words hung in the air, and for a moment, Maya could feel the walls of her heart begin to break down. The thought of sharing her dreams began to bubble to the surface. Perhaps it was time to admit that she yearned for more than just survival. Maybe we could have more conversations like this, she suggested, her voice a little stronger now. I could show you my world, outside of this place. Jake's eyes widened slightly, and she could see the faintest flicker of excitement there. I'd like that. I'd really like that. Chloe squealed with delight, oblivious to the subtle complexities woven through the conversation. See, Mommy? You made a new friend. Maya chuckled, her heart swelling with unexpected joy. Could this really be happening? Could a simple act of bravery lead to something beautiful? The atmosphere shifted, filled with a warm connection that enveloped them like a shared secret. But just as quickly as it built, the moment felt fragile again, like a flame flickering in the breeze. Suddenly, the door swung wide open, and another staff member rushed in, chatting loudly about an upcoming event. The moment shattered again, and Maya felt the familiar tension creep back in. The vibrant connection she had shared with Jake seemed to wane under the undeniable weight of reality. What if this time was different? What if she finally took a stand for her dreams? As Chloe continued to prattle on about her art, Maya's heart thudded fiercely in her chest. Maybe there was a chance for love, for risk, for vulnerability. That night, as Maya tucked Chloe into bed, she realized that the greatest risk of all might be letting someone see her for who she truly was. As she sat beside her daughter, the question echoed in her mind, was she ready to extend her heart beyond past wounds and fears? As sleep claimed her daughter, Maya allowed herself a small smile. Tomorrow, she would navigate this unknown with new resolve and an open heart. But would the offer of connection lead her to a future she dared to dream about, or would it break her in ways she couldn't yet anticipate? Maya awoke the next morning with the soft cooing of birds filtering through the window, pouring golden light into the room. She stretched and smiled at Chloe, still snuggled under her blanket, that peaceful little face framed by wild curls. Today felt different. A flicker of hope danced in her chest, pushing back the familiar tendrils of fear threatening to creep in and wrap around her. As she made breakfast, thoughts of Jake swirled through her mind. She replayed their conversation over and over, his warm eyes, the way he listened and truly seemed to care. It was surreal to think about opening herself up, letting him in. But there was also a spark of excitement, a thrill at the idea that someone could see her as more than just a janitor. Mom! Chloe's voice broke into her reverie. Can we make cupcakes today? The pink ones with sprinkles. Maya laughed, the sound bouncing off the kitchen walls. Absolutely. But only if we clean up afterwards, deal? Chloe nodded, her face lighting up. Deal. They whipped up the batter, flour dusting the counters like tiny snowflakes. Maya felt a weight lift as she mixed the ingredients, her daughter chiming in with silly lyrics that turned the kitchen into a stage. In that moment, the worries seemed worlds away, and all that mattered was the bond they shared. As they waited for the cupcakes to bake, Chloe's enthusiasm got the best of her. Can we invite your new friend over to have some? Maya's heart skipped. Maybe, but let us wait and see how they come out first, she said with a teasing smile. We can't let anyone judge our baking skills if the cupcakes turn out bad, right? Right. Chloe giggled, her laughter infectious. Maya's thoughts drifted back to Jake. An invitation seemed daunting but exhilarating. She wanted him to see the two of them, to experience the joy of their world. What if he'd say yes? But what if he didn't? The unknown had always terrified her, Yet today she felt a sliver of bravery emerging. Once the cupcakes cooled, she decided to send him a text. Her fingers hovered over the screen, hesitating with every word. But before she could second-guess herself, she hit send, a flutter of nerves swirling in her gut. "Do you think he'll come?" Chloe asked, licking icing from her fingers, her eyes wide with curiosity. Maya took a deep breath. "I hope so. But no matter what, we'll still have each other and our cupcakes." Her phone buzzed minutes later, making her jump. It was a response from Jake, a simple text that read, "I'd love to." "What time?" Maya couldn't help but grin, her heart soaring. He was coming. The prospect felt both thrilling and terrifying. Could she really let him into her life? What would he think of their modest home, their chaos? Chloe squealed in excitement, oblivious to her mother's conflicting emotions. Maya felt a wave of warmth as she watched her daughter dance around, happiness radiating from her. "Let us make it special," Maya declared, her resolve solidifying. "We need to clean up and prepare." The rest of the day slipped into a flurry of activity. They cleaned the apartment, decorating the table with colorful paper, and carefully arranged the cupcakes. Maya felt an unusual sense of anticipation building inside her. It wasn't just about the visit. It felt like nervous energy wrapping around her heart, urging her to embrace new beginnings. As she looked in the mirror, she took a moment to steady herself. "You can do this," she whispered, a fierce determination in her voice. This was her chance to show Jake the real her. As the doorbell rang, she took a breath, heart racing again. But this time, it was different. This time she felt alive. She opened the door, ready to face whatever was next. But would Jake really like what he saw? Would their connection hold in the light of reality, or would it dim under scrutiny? Maya opened the door, her breath catching for a moment. Jake stood there, his smile bright against the backdrop of their bustling little home. The sun brushed through the hallway, casting a warm glow around him, and she felt a rush of warmth towards the man who was already starting to feel significant in her life. "Hey, Maya!" His voice was inviting, filled with genuine affection as he stepped inside. "Hi, Jake," she managed, trying to regain her composure. As her eyes flickered to the cupcakes lined up on the table, she silently hoped they matched her expectations. Chloe darted forward, her excitement spilling over. "Look, Jake! We made pink cupcakes with sprinkles." His gaze fell on Chloe, and the way his face lit up was mesmerizing. "Wow, those look amazing." "You're a fantastic baker," he said, crouching down to her level. Maya felt her heart swell as she watched the two exchange smiles. Chloe beamed, clearly enjoying the attention. "Want to help us eat some?" Jake chuckled, standing again. "I'd love to, but only if you promise to save me one for later." "Deal!" Chloe exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. Maya couldn't help but smile at the warmth filling their small living room. The three of them settled around the table. Maya tried to focus on the conversation, but her mind dashed between moments of joy and uncertainties tumbling through her thoughts. What would Jake think of their cozy chaos? The small toys scattered around the floor, the mismatched furniture, the mess of everyday life? "So, what's the secret to perfect cupcakes?" Jake asked, engaging Chloe with a playful curiosity. "They have to have lots of sprinkles, like, way more than you think," Chloe replied, eyes wide with seriousness. Jake laughed, and the sound felt light and happy in the air. Maya felt herself relax, the initial tension of worry lifting slightly. Maybe this wasn't going to be as hard as she thought. They spent the next hour talking and laughing. Chloe animatedly shared her favorite stories about school, and Maya chimed in, adding playful anecdotes. Jake's laughter was easy, and it melted sectors of her guarded heart. But each chuckle from him also reminded her of the gulf between their worlds. Was it really possible for someone like her to fit into his life? In the midst of a cupcake frosting disaster, a dab of icing landed on Jake's nose. Chloe erupted into laughter, and even Maya couldn't help but giggle. "Now you're official," Maya teased, the ice between them now thoroughly broken. Jake wiped it away with a grin, his eyes sparkling. This is definitely the best cupcake experience I've had. As the laughter died down, Maya felt the moment shift. Jake's gaze lingered on her, sincere and thoughtful. You know, I really admire how you juggle everything, he said, catching her off guard. What do you mean? I know being a single mom can't be easy, he continued. You're doing a fantastic job. Maya felt a rush of emotions, warmth pooling in her chest. No one had said something like that in a long time. It's not always sunshine and cupcakes, but she hesitated, searching for the right words. Chloe is my world. And you're amazing for that, he replied, his tone dropping lower as if sharing a secret. Just then, a wave of vulnerability washed over her. What if this moment was just a fleeting one, not a foundation for something real? She caught his gaze, a spark of something deeper flickered between them, but reality beckoned. What did he really think of her beyond the cupcakes and laughter? Chloe bounced up, holding out a cupcake. Can we take a picture together? Jake's face softened. Absolutely. As they posed, Maya wrapped an arm around Jake and felt the warmth of his presence, igniting a fire within her. Maybe it was the beginning of something more, or just a beautiful moment to hold on to. But one question remained: would facing the truth about themselves bind them closer, or draw them apart? As the camera clicked, her heart raced, not just for the sweet memories they were creating but for the uncertainty of what lay ahead. As the camera flashed, a moment frozen in time, Maya felt both exhilarated and terrified. The laughter echoed in her mind long after the sound had faded. She hadn't realized how desperately she needed this, how desperately she needed connection. Chloe hummed a little tune as she picked up a cupcake, still beaming from their photo together. Maya watched her daughter take a big bite, cheeks stuffed and eyes sparkling. Are they good? Jake asked, leaning in closer, laughter dancing in his eyes as he watched Chloe's frosting-covered enthusiasm. Mmm! Chloe exclaimed, her voice slightly muffled. Try this one. She eagerly offered a cupcake, pink and covered in glittering sprinkles. Jake accepted it with a soft laugh, his eyes never leaving Chloe's. Okay, but you have to help me out here. He gave her a conspiratorial wink. Is this the special cupcake that has the secret ingredient? She nodded vigorously, eyes wide as if revealing a true secret of wizardry. Yep. It's made with love and sprinkles. The genuine affection in those moments sent waves of warmth through Maya. She could almost forget her earlier uncertainties. Almost. Yet, the reality still lingered, gnawing at the edges of her sunshine. Their light-hearted banter continued, each joke and smile gradually weaving a tapestry of comfort. Yet, as easy as it felt, Maya still feared what it could mean as the good old what if floated through her mind. But then, just as Jake shared a goofy story about a disastrous office potluck that had everyone in tears, he turned to her. You know, Maya, I really appreciate this. It can be hard to step away from work sometimes. Yeah, I can imagine, Maya replied cautiously, heart racing. But it's nice to have a break, right? Jake searched her eyes, his expression shifting slightly, growing more earnest as he said, Everyone deserves a break. Even if they don't think they do. Those words resounded deeper than she expected, igniting a flicker of hope within her. Maybe it didn't have to be perfect. Maybe it just had to be real. But as the playful atmosphere lingered, thoughts of doubt crept back in. What would happen when he saw the unfiltered version of her life? The dishes piling up in the sink, the constant noise of toys and cartoons, or the nightly chaos of bedtime routines? Jake finally took a bite of Chloe's creation. Well? Chloe asked, anticipation shining through her eyes. Maya held her breath, waiting for his reaction. The indulgent grin that spread across his face told her everything. This is amazing, you two. You're both great chefs. And for a minute, the light of that moment felt like it was enough to bridge the gap of their lives. Yet, the very thought of him getting to know the real, messier version of herself sent a shudder of anxiety through her. The laughter dimmed, creating a soft lull in their conversation. Maya knew it was time to make a choice to let this connection deepen, or to hold back, retreat to safety, and risk losing something wonderful before it really began. Jake, she started, but the words caught in her throat. Was she ready to let someone in? Can I help with anything? He offered, ready as always to lend a hand. Just help me figure out what we should do next? She whispered, barely audible but heavy with meaning. He looked at her, his expression shifting from jovial to something deeper, something searching. I think I can help with that. Her heart raced with anticipation, wondering what could unfold next. But then, just as Chloe interjected with another burst of curiosity, her innocent voice slicing through the moment, "Can we go outside and play?" It happened. Maya's phone buzzed on the table, and the sudden noise echoed through the room like a thunderclap, ripping through their fragile moment. Maya's heart sank as Jake's expression transformed into a mask of concern. Are you okay? What now? She'd have to face the reality of her day-to-day life. Could everything forged in laughter survive this sudden intrusion? As she reached for her phone, dread twisted in her stomach. What if this was the moment that changed everything? Maya's fingers trembled as her eyes fell on the screen. A text from her sister lit up the display, the message full of urgency. Mom's not doing well. Can you come over? The words pulled her back to a reality she'd tried so hard to escape, a weight pressing down harder than ever. She looked up at Jake, who was still watching her with concern etched across his face. The laughter and lightness from moments ago felt like distant echoes in a vast emptiness. Hey, he said softly, breaking the silence that had enveloped them. You okay? Maya could feel her breath quicken. She didn't want to unload on him. Not when there was a flicker of light between them, a door ajar that could lead to something beautiful. But how could she shape a future when the past tugged so insistently at her sleeve? Yeah, just family stuff, she managed to say, swallowing the heaviness that threatened to spill over. Chloe, oblivious to the shift in mood, bounced between them, her little hands covered in cupcake goo. Can we please go outside? The sun is shining. Can we? Can we? Jake blinked, his gaze shifting between Maya and her daughter. There was hesitation there, as if he was weighing how much to push back against the walls she had built. Maya, he said carefully, if you need to go, it's okay. Family comes first. She shook her head, battling the urge to flee. No, she's right. Let us go outside. I just need a moment to breathe. As they moved to the backyard, Maya felt the rush of fresh air envelop them, the vibrancy of the flowers and blooms surrounding them like a hug. Chloe darted off ahead, her laughter ringing out like a welcome chime, dragging Maya's heart out of the shadows momentarily. Jake followed closely behind, throwing Chloe a plastic ball. Catch! He called out, his smile brightening the space like sunlight breaking through clouds. Maya watched them, heart swelling as she took in the scene. This was pure joy, untainted by the chaos of real life. Yet, the moment they shared was tinged with dread. How could this last? How could she allow someone like Jake into the messiness of her life? As Chloe ran around, Jake turned, his brows slightly furrowed. You know, he started, his voice more serious. It doesn't have to be perfect for it to be good. His words landed squarely in her chest, igniting a spark of hope. Good? She parroted, almost doubtfully. Yeah, he encouraged, stepping closer. Life isn't always clean and neat. It's usually a whirlwind of uncertainties and surprises. But that's what makes it beautiful, don't you think? She searched his eyes, looking for answers, for permission to let go. The sincerity there was palpable, and for a heartbeat she dared to imagine a world where she didn't have to hide. Maybe, she whispered, letting the fragile thought drift in the air between them. Just then, Chloe tumbled into a patch of daisies, giggling as she emerged covered in petals like nature's confetti. Look at me! She declared, pure delight radiating from her small frame. Maya laughed, the sound breaking the tension around them. You look like a flower princess, she called out, her heart lightening. That's my girl, Jake grinned, a twinkle of admiration in his eyes. And in that moment, a fragile thought began to bloom in Maya's heart. Could this be more? But then, the phone buzzed again, this time insistent and jarring. Maya glanced down, dread clawing at her as she read the text. Please come now. Her heart sank. She looked at Jake, ready to retreat once more, to slip back into the shadows. But the hope that had sparked started to flicker, urging her to stay. Hey, she started, but the words fell away as Chloe called for their attention, pulling them both into the joyful chaos once again. The choice loomed heavy, and as the sun began to set, filling the sky with shades of orange and pink, Maya knew she was at a crossroads. Will she let herself be seen in the middle of the chaos? Jake's question echoed silently in her mind. But for now, as laughter enveloped her, the world stood still, suspended in the moment. What would she choose when laughter faded? Would she brace herself against the storm or take a step towards the light? Maya's heart raced as the sunlight melted into soft hues of pink and orange. She caught Jake's gaze lingering on her, a mix of concern and quiet determination. It pierced through her defenses, a reminder that she was standing on a precipice, ready to leap into the unknown. Can we play a game? Chloe called, her excitement breaking the tension like the sound of shattering glass. Please! Can we do tag? Maya chuckled softly, her heart aching with warmth at her daughter's innocence. Okay, but only if you promise to let me catch you, she replied, forcing a smile to settle on her face. Chloe squealed with delight and bolted away, her tiny feet pounding on the grass. Maya turned to Jake, who was still watching her with a patient intensity. You know, I'm not great at being a mom, she blurted out, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. I'm always trying to figure it out. I never wanted to drag Chloe into my mess. Jake stepped closer, gentle yet firm. Maya, he said softly, you're doing amazing. Just look at her. She doesn't care about the mess. She just loves being with you. Her breath caught. For a moment, she felt seen. The weight of isolation that had clung to her like a second skin began to lift, even if just a little. Why are you so good to me? She asked, the vulnerability spilling out, almost catching her off guard. Because I see something worth sticking around for, he shrugged, a soft smile playing at the corners of his mouth. And because I think you're worth it. His words felt like an anchor in the stormy seas of her mind. You say that now, she replied, forcing a lightness into her voice, but I'm a whirlwind. Yes, he admitted, but storms can be beautiful. They clear the air and bring new beginnings. Maya watched as Chloe spun around, arms wide open, laughing like she was dancing with the sky. It was pure magic. Yet the reality of the text message still loomed over her, the urgency of her family pulling at her like a tide. I need to go, she said finally, the knot in her stomach tightening again. Mom, she needs me. Jake nodded, and in that moment she recognized the momentary flicker of disappointment on his face. I understand. His voice was steady, but she could see the question swirling in his eyes. Would this be the last of their connection? Can I come with you? He asked suddenly, surprising both of them. If it's okay, I mean. I don't want to overstep, but Maya paused, torn. Could she really invite him into this chaos? The uncertainty? The heartache? Would he see her for what she truly was? I don't know if it's a good idea, she replied, but her voice wasn't as certain as she hoped. Then just let me be there. Just in case you need me, he insisted gently. You shouldn't face this alone. Maya's heart shattered and mended all at once. Jake stood there, solid and unwavering, with an authenticity that tugged at her. She could feel the warmth of possibility outlining the boundaries of solace. Maybe letting him in wouldn't mean abandoning her daughter. Maybe it could mean finding strength. Okay, she whispered, the weight of the decision dawning on her. Okay, let us go. As Chloe ran back, breathless and radiant, Maya took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever came next. She took Jake's hand, feeling a tether of hope amidst her worries. The three of them headed towards her car, and for the first time, Maya felt the thrill of change vibrate in the air. In the shadow of her family's struggles, a new path beckoned. The road ahead felt uncertain, but somehow exciting. Would facing the past allow her to discover a future built on strength and love? Just as they reached the car, another warning buzz vibrated in her pocket. As she fished out her phone, dread crept up her spine once more. What would the next message bring? Will she find comfort in the chaos or fortitude in the unknown? The questions trailed behind her as they drove away, leaving a ghostly unease that hinted she wouldn't have to face it all alone. Maya tossed her phone onto the passenger seat, her heart pounding. The message flashed on the screen, a reminder of her mother's delicate state. It was almost as if the universe had a cruel sense of timing. She took one last look at Jake and Chloe, who were still laughing, the weight of her worries pressing down mercilessly. "Let us get this done," she murmured, more to herself than to anyone else. As she put the car into gear and pulled onto the winding road, the trees blurred into streaks of green against the backdrop of a fading sky. "You think Grandma will be all right?" Chloe asked, her innocent voice breaking through Maya's thoughts. "Yeah, sweetie. She just needs a little help," Maya replied, forcing a lightness into her tone. Jake glanced at Maya, a silent question resting behind his guarded eyes. Did she really believe that? Chloe's small hand reached for the radio, and soon the car filled with upbeat music, thickening the air with joy. For a moment, Maya allowed herself to get lost in the rhythm, the memories of carefree summers, laughter, and love flooding in. She couldn't help but glance at Jake, who was nodding along, his presence unwavering like a lighthouse guiding her through the storm. After a while, the music faded, and the conversation turned serious. "Are you okay?" Jake asked, his voice steady against the noise of the engine. Maya swallowed hard. "It's just... I don't know what to expect. I feel torn. I love her, but it's hard to be the daughter she needs right now." "Then don't try to be perfect. Just be there. That's what matters," he encouraged, the sincerity in his voice wrapping around her like a warm blanket. As the city lights began to flicker in the distance, a lump formed in her throat. Jake reached out, resting a hand on her knee. It was a small gesture, but it held a world of reassurance. "You are doing the best you can." A sigh escaped her lips, the tension releasing just a bit. "Thank you. I don't know how I'd get through this without you." Chloe piped up from the back seat, her voice bright and innocent. "Mom, can we get ice cream after we see Grandma?" Maya laughed, her spirits lifting. "Sure, kiddo. Ice cream sounds like a plan." The laughter from Chloe felt like life infiltrating her sadness, planting seeds of hope. Maybe there could be sweetness amid the chaos. As they neared the hospital, the familiar facade loomed ahead, a stark reminder of everything she feared. The warmth of outside faded as she parked and turned off the engine. Anxiety knotted in her stomach, intertwining with the faint flicker of hope. "All right," deep breath, she whispered to herself. Jake's hand squeezed her knee lightly. "You're not alone. Remember that." She nodded, taking a moment to gather her strength. When they stepped out of the car, Chloe slipped her tiny hand into Maya's, and it steadied her. Walking towards the entrance, Maya felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, but the warmth from her daughter and the solid presence of Jake beside her filled her with a flicker of courage. Walking through those double doors, the sterile smell of antiseptic filled her lungs, and the reality of the situation set in. The hospital's quiet urgency felt suffocating, the white walls closing in on her. "Mommy, look!" Chloe jumped, pointing to a mural depicting cartoon animals. "They're so funny!" Maya couldn't help but smile, a spark lighting up her heart in the heaviness. "Yes, they are." But as they rounded the corner, Maya's heart sank. She saw her mother leaning fragile against a multitude of pillows, eyes dim, encased in the bright light of fluorescent bulbs. "Mom," she stepped forward, her voice barely escaping her lips. The moment of truth had arrived. Was she ready for whatever came next? Time froze as her mother's gaze lifted slowly. All she could think was, would the woman she loved still recognize her through the fog of loss? What revelations would come to light in this fragile moment? Maya stood frozen, the heartbeat echoing in her ears as her eyes met her mother's tired gaze. It was a moment suspended in time, her heart opened wide and full of fear and hope. The frailty of her mother contrasted sharply with the vibrant chaos of Chloe. The room was bright, but the weight of anxiety darkened it. "Sweetheart," her mother whispered, a hint of recognition sparking in her eyes. "You're here." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she stepped closer, her heart swelling with love and worry. She reached out, her fingers brushing against her mother's thin hand, worn but warm. "I'm here, Mom. I missed you. We've been through a lot." Her mother managed a soft smile, but it quickly faded as reality washed over the room. "I'm sorry, dear," she croaked. "I didn't mean to worry you." Maya's heart twisted in her chest, but she willed herself to stay strong. For her mother. For Chloe. "You don't have to apologize. I just want to be with you." As she spoke, she felt Jake's comforting presence beside her, his quiet strength echoing in the small space. "Is that Chloe?" her mother asked, her voice rising an octave, a flicker of life illuminating her eyes. Chloe jumped forward, her innocent spirit unmistakable. "Grandma! Look at my glittery drawing!" she exclaimed, pulling out the crumpled artwork from her pocket, with colors bursting joyfully across the paper. Maya watched as her mother's expression shifted. The dim light in her eyes flickered, like a candle catching a fresh breeze. "Oh, my sweet girl, it's beautiful!" That spark opened the floodgates. Maya felt hope intertwining with a familiar ache. Chloe's been practicing her art. She loves to paint with all the colors. Chloe beamed with pride, moving closer to her grandmother's bed. As they began to chat, Maya felt a shift in the room. It was as if the colors they spoke of painted over the canvas of reality, adding brightness where there had been gray. "You're the best artist I know," her mother said, laughter infusing the air. Chloe giggled, unbothered by the sterile environment. Maya watched as the two shared stories, the generations connecting in that small hospital room. And in that moment, she realized something monumental. Love filled the spaces where fear had once thrived. The simple act of showing up had unlocked layers of affection that had been shadowed for so long. Moments passed like fleeting memories, yet every second was alive with meaning. Jake stood quietly off to the side, observing the warmth enveloping them. He hadn't said much, but there was a softness in his eyes that made Maya think he understood the weight she carried. He was a pillar among the rubble. Could I join you?" he asked tentatively, stepping forward. Her mother turned and blinked, eyes brightening as the introduction unfolded. "Of course. I'd love to meet you." Her mother gestured for him to come closer. "You must be a wonderful friend to Maya." As the three of them settled into a rhythm, sharing laughter and stories, Maya felt a kinship weave between them. Even under the heavy weight of her mother's illness, it was a magical moment. A realization dawned: family didn't just come bundled in a traditional package. It extended into the hearts of others who stepped in courageously, sharing burdens of life. Maya glanced up at Jake, who had joined the circle, contributing to the dialogue with tenderness and sincerity. The connection they had felt before now seemed more solid, enriched with the layers of authenticity that came with shared experiences. "Life throws difficult things at us," Jake said, lifting his gaze to meet Maya's. "But finding joy within the chaos, that's the real strength." Those words struck Maya like a lightning bolt, igniting her resolve. She realized she no longer had to carry her burdens alone. It was okay to lean in to forge a broader family from moments of connection. "Yes, it's true," Maya replied, a smile breaking across her lips. "And I choose to celebrate every little moment that comes my way." Her mother nodded, tears shimmering in her tired eyes. "Life isn't always easy, but it's the beautiful moments that get us through." Maya's heart surged as she clasped her mother's hand again, her heart thundering in rhythm. Even in pain, there was also resilience. Chloe ran back into the room after a playful moment, and collapsed next to them, breathless from joy. "Can we have an art day together, Grandma?" Chloe gasped, eyes wide and sparkling. "I would love that," her mother said, her voice full of joy. Their eyes glistened with shared laughter and love. Maya looked at Jake and felt the warmth of possibility among them. Maybe together, they could create something beautiful out of both their lives, a blend of colors uniting them in strength and love. The world felt vast, but with each connection they embraced, she felt closer to her dreams and hopes. The chaos didn't need to consume her. It was simply part of the journey. The American dream wasn't just a destination. It was about discovering the power of family, friendship, and community in the midst of uncertainties. As the afternoon light filtered through the window, filling the room with warmth, Maya released a breath she didn't know she was holding. Together, they faced the unknown, armed with love, laughter, and the courage to embrace every moment as it came. With hearts intertwined, Maya realized she could hold space for her family, while also letting in the light. With Jake they were starting anew. And this was just the beginning. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show us your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, it matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us spread the love and inspiration.